In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, glory to Jesus Christ. Beloved, a parish is a sacred place. A parish is such a precious thing. In Greek, the word for parish is parokia, which means it has a connotation of exile. It's like a house, though. It's like the dwelling of those who are in exile. So this word parish, from which we get this word parish in English from the word parokia in Greek. And so a parish is a place of exile, the house of those who have been exiled from the world. A place that is not like the world, that is very different, or should be. St. Paul, today, in his epistle to the Romans, sets out these beautiful words about what he wants the parish to be like, how he expects it to be, what he thinks it should be like. In offering this guidance, he begins in this short little section that the reader read for you by describing the diversity of gifts that have been given to this church in Rome, these gifts that God has given. He says that these gifts ought not to be wasted. He's talking about all these different powerful things that men have, prophecy and the like. And he says that these should be done, that men should give, that men should fulfill all these good things that God has given to them, these good vocations, these skills from heaven, these powers of grace. The gospel ended with these words, that they glorified God for the power that he had given unto men. God has given great power unto the church of Rome in this time, and Paul wants these gifts not to be wasted, but that's not really what he's talking about. Because when gifts are given, it's expected they will be used. We expect that a gift will not be wasted. So what is Paul really teaching here? This short section begins at verse 6 and it ends at verse 14. But if we read the verses right before, we'll see what Paul means. So this is the beginning of Romans 12. These are the verses that lead up to what the reader read to you. This is what Paul says to the church of the Romans. He says, I exhort you, therefore, brethren, by the mercy of God, to present your bodies as a sacrifice, living, holy, pleasing to God, your spiritual service. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed in the newness of your mind, that you may discern what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God. By the grace that has been given to me, I say to each one among you, let no one rate himself more than he ought, but let him rate himself according to moderation, and according as God has apportioned to each one the measure of faith. For just as in one body we have many members, yet all the members have not the same function. So we, the many, are one body in Christ, but severally members one of another. And then begins verse 6, the reader read to you, and Paul launches into these gifts, all the gifts that have been given to the church of Rome. And what is his real concern? His real concern, beloved, is that they not be conformed to this world. Do not be conformed to this world. Why does he say this? Because he immediately launches into this discussion of gifts. He's fervent for their spiritual service, but their spiritual service be unlike the world. How are they to be different from the world? Are there not special gifts in the world, special qualities? Is not one man wiser than another man stronger than another? Yes. Are there gifts of grace in the world? No, gifts of grace come from baptism. But there are gifts that God gives innately to men. These are common to all men of the world. But how are they used in the world? And then Paul launches right into this idea that the gifts that God has given to men should be used for the unity of the brothers, the building up of the house. But in the world it is not so. When a man receives a great gift, it is for himself. If he speaks well, he says, this is for my glory. If a man is wise, he says, it is good that I am wise, and my brother is foolish. For I am above my brother, and I think highly of myself. And I have this gift unto myself. But how many men really think of themselves by saying, the gifts God has given belong not to me, but to the brothers? That's actually what Paul's saying here. All the gifts that God gives, whether they're gifts that are innate to man, like the things you're born with, or the gifts of grace, like prophecy, speaking in tongues, all the powers, working miracles, all the things that God does give in the church from time to time, it doesn't really matter. These gifts are for your brothers. So if a man is wise, it is so that he may illumine his brothers. If a man is eloquent, it is so that he may give them a good word. Is it for himself? Never. It's for his brothers. A gift is only realized in love. It's given in love by God, and it's only actualized in love with one another. So Paul is saying, don't be conformed to the world. But then what does he say in verse 3? He says, brothers, don't think about yourselves above what you ought. Don't rate yourselves higher than you should, but rate yourselves in accordance with moderation. Why? Because pride defiles the gifts. He knows the church in Rome has great gifts, mighty things that God has given to them. But what will they do with these gifts? They will think about themselves, and they will glorify themselves for what they've been given. And in doing so, they'll lose all the gifts that God has given to them. But also, they will build up nothing among their brothers. Nothing will come of it. And so Paul is eager to cast out this idea of pride. He's very eager to do so. What does he say then in verse 9? He says, let love be without hypocrisy. Abhor what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love, in honor giving preference to one another. So you give preference even to those who are below you in gifts. You have the gift of prophecy, and your brother has no gifts, but you give preference to him, even though he is below you in grace. Maybe he's even below you in the innate gifts he was born with, and you were born with. But you give preference to him. You bend to him, even though you're higher if you think you are. So what is the hypocrisy? It's obviously pride. This great Serbian elder, he says, Elder Thaddeus, he says, where love is present, pride is absent. But where pride is present, love is absent. There can be no love and pride in the same place. And so all the gifts that God gives are literally for love alone. All the qualities you have belong to your brother. And you cover your brother with the gifts that you have. And your brother is lacking some gifts, but your gifts make up for it. And your brother has gifts that you do not possess, and these make up for what you do not have. And so everything is covered. St. John Chrysostom actually says something really powerful. I'm doing this Bible study at the Johnson home every Sunday night. We've been reading Galatians, and there's a verse in Galatians 6:2, which is very famous, where it says, bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. This verse is profound. But then I'm reading Chrysostom to say, what does he say about it? And Chrysostom says, do not say fulfill the law of Christ, say complete it. Complete the law of Christ. What does that mean? Well, Chrysostom launches into something similar to what I just said. He says that, look at men. All around you there are men who have deficits. Some men break the law here, some men break the law here, some men keep the law here, and some men keep the law there. Christ kept the whole law within himself. But everywhere men are lacking. One man has and another man does not have. And so what does Chrysostom say? Cover your brothers, and so you complete the law of Christ. It's like a wall that has gaps. So what do? We angle the bricks such that everything is overlapping, everything covers. Everything is protected. One brother sins, but another brother covers his sin with his own virtues. But that the brother who has the virtues, though, he also has a deficit that his other brother covers for him. The same is true with gifts, but the same is also true of burdens. And so we must bear each other's burdens, covering each other's burdens, but we also offer gifts to complement each other's gifts. And that is the only way that gifts actually work. And so this is what Paul is saying. Your gifts are not your own, they belong to your brothers. Your burdens are your own, but cover your brothers. Cover your brother's burden, and he will cover yours. Like when you think about war, beloved, you think about like the Spartans, you think about the Greeks, they would fight together in this formation called a phalanx. And each man would have a shield, each man would have a spear. And so if I have a shield in my left hand and I have a spear in my right, what protects my right side? My brother's shield to my right. His shield covers me. My shield covers my brother to my left of me. And so therefore, each man is protected by his brother. And so if this is done right, all you see is this bristling wall, with all the men hiding behind shields with spears going out. And so there's no gap in it, there's no weakness in it. The Romans fought in a similar formation called a manifold, and it was the same. I would have a shield in my left hand, a sword in my right hand, and my brother would cover me with his shield to my right, and I would use my shield to cover my brother to my left, and I would cover him. And if this is done right, it's a bristling wall. There's no gaps in it. It's covered. It's locked. You can't get into it. This is how the spiritual life should be, beloved. No man is of himself pure, and yet, in places where he is lacking, his brother will cover him. In his places where his brother is lacking, he will cover his brother. So when you come to the church, beloved, you bring your gifts with you unto your brothers, unto God, not for yourself. The skills you have, they're not for you, they're for your brothers. Think about that. Your burdens are your own. But cover your brother's burdens also. And see, then, beloved, if you do this, the parish will not be like the world. It will really be the house of exiles. Because the world is full of those who long to glory in their own gifts. What does it mean to glory? I glory when? When I speak well? No, when my brother is edified, then I'm glorified. But more yet, I'm glorified when God is glorified. If I speak a good word and the Lord is glorified, then I've entered into glory. If I help my brother, that is glory. If I'm praised by men, this is not glory. Glory is when I actually help my brothers, when they actually become better because of something that I have done. Then I've helped someone, and God is glorified in this. And this is a true use of the gift. It's never for our own glory, but for God's, but also for our brother's help. So, beloved, do not live like those in the world who seek only their own benefit, who seek only their own adoration, their own self-aggrandizement. Don't live like this. It's wrong. Don't bring the world into the church. Rather, cast the world out of the church. And live like Paul says, covering your brothers. Let your love be without hypocrisy, which is pride. Everything in the church should be real, without hypocrisy. Cover your brothers, and they will cover you. And together we'll go into paradise.